Hello, dissidents. This is the first of videos that we're going to start doing of stories that we don't think are going to make it into the live stream, but they're stories that we want to cover. A lot of those things go by and we cry because we don't get to cover them. Also, I want to address a little controversy that we have. We've been going back and forth a little on China, and clearly I'm not as informed on that subject as I am on some others, so I'm going to study more. So as an olive branch, I wore this shirt, which translates as China is Switzerland with better food. So I hope that's going to tamp all this down until I talk to some people from Amnesty International. So moving on, and speaking of capitalism versus communism, there is a video that has gone viral online of a CEO of a high-end office furniture company. Trying to give an inspirational Newt Rockney kind of a speech to her employees, very Full Metal Jacket, straighten out and come in for the big win. She gives that whole speech, and it's gone viral because it kind of exposes a lot of the absurdities of capitalism, and a lot of she falls back on a lot of platitudes and cliches. It's very cringe. So we'll take a look at that and we'll discuss.
Questions came through about how can we stay motivated if we're not going to get a bonus? What can we do? What can we do? Some of them were nice and some of them were not so nice. So I'm going to address this head on. The most important thing we can do right now is focus on the things that we can control. None of us could have predicted COVID. None of us could have predicted supply chain. None of us could have predicted bank failures. But what we can do is stay in front of our customers, provide the best customer service we can, get our orders out our door, treat each other well, be kind, be respectful, focus on the future because it will be bright. It's not good to be in a situation we're in today, but we're not going to be here forever. It is going to get better. So lead by example, treat people well, talk to them, be kind, and get after it. Don't ask about what are we going to do if we don't get a bonus. Get the damn $26 million. Spend your time and your effort thinking about the $26 million we need and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. All right? Can I get some commitment for that? I would appreciate that. I had an old boss who said to me one time, you can visit Pity City, but you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, now, why did this in particular go viral? I think that you could probably find hundreds of videos of male CEOs giving similar speeches. I think it's the Pity City thing that's just so cringe, and the ending there, right? That there's something very cringe about that whole video. I am not just gonna throw red meat to the base on this though and go with the obvious take. Oh, look at this horrible woman. That's honestly, that's not what I see. I see somebody who probably scraped and stepped over people and did everything that you're supposed to do in capitalism to get ahead. And I don't think you can discount that as a woman, she probably had a harder road than a man would usually have to get into that position. And no sooner does this woman become the CEO than this once in a century pandemic completely collapses the market for high-end office furniture. And she has to go out there with her executives and give them an inspirational speech about getting the $26 million. It's unclear. We're going to get into an article about this. It's unclear what that $26 million is about because the company will not reveal what metric that's based on. But common sense, this is something we haven't even considered with the collapse of office space. You're going to have a total collapse in all of these industries that manufacture office equipment. Right? I mean, staples, you're probably going to get a mass wave of bankruptcies out of office supply companies. Now, this is how capitalism is actually supposed to work, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. You're subject to the vicissitudes of the marketplace. Of course, if you are a banking enterprise, you're not subject to those forces. If you're an arms manufacturer, you're not subject to those forces, but there's no big office furniture lobby in Washington. So for them, they're subject to capitalism. So Vice took a break from their usual work, important work, reporting sex toys for gay cats and that sort of thing. And they did a little bit of coverage on this. So the name of the company is MillerKnoll. MillerKnoll, an office chair company that makes some of the most well-regarded chairs in the country, including the Aeron, Mira, and Eames lounge chairs, has struggled with a decline in demand since the pandemic as companies began to more permanently embrace the hybrid work model, making them less prone to shell out for hundreds of brand new high-end office chairs. Traditional office usage and layouts are not as relevant as they once were, Owen said in a March earnings call. Owen is the CEO. Companies who reduced the size of their office footprint flooded the secondary market with cheaper secondhand products, only further reducing demand. This led to a period of disruption, as MillerKnoll itself recently put it, which led Herman Miller to acquire Knoll, one of its top competitors, in 2021 for $1.8 billion and form newly created MillerKnoll to better weather the changes brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Knoll's then CEO stepped down as a result of the transaction, placing Owen, then CEO of Herman Miller, in charge of the newly formed furniture giant. Since then, Owen has tried to cut costs in a variety of ways as the share price plunged. The company announced earlier this month that it would close a manufacturing plant in Wisconsin and lay off 162 employees, and otherwise shifted its focus to more hybrid collaborative work environments, that's a quote, and online sales. For her work, Owen received bonuses of $1.29 million last year and $1.12 million in 2021. Okay, so this is also, I think, being misrepresented. I think the main tweet that's spreading this around claims she got a $6.4 million bonus. It's not clear where that came from. It also suggests that she got a bonus while other people didn't. And I just want to be clear, if I'm understanding all this correctly, that's not the case. The article actually says bonuses for this year have yet to be determined. So yes, she got bonuses the last 2 years. Presumably the other executives that she's addressing here got those bonuses as well. It's undetermined as of yet this year if she's getting a bonus as well as those executives. So I don't want to just do a dumb pile on. This might not be as satisfying a take as some people might want. Let's go after the CEO. But we're always honest with you. And I got to say, I see a cog in the machine. I don't think she's a particularly villainous CEO at this furniture company. I think if you look at the CEO of Boeing, who sent a plane out that he knew was dangerous to fly even after it killed people until he was forced to stop flying it, that person belongs in jail for the rest of their life. This is a woman who wound up running a furniture company that specializes in high-end office furniture at a moment when that entire industry has just been rendered virtually obsolete, trying to give a pep talk. I will say on the identity politics end, it does show you that this effort to diversify the people in the corporate boardrooms is really meaningless in the end in terms of changing the system. They're not going to let any woman or anyone, but much less somebody who's from a group that traditionally doesn't get into these positions. They're not going to let anyone who in any way questions the system, the underlying premises of the system, anywhere near the C-suite. And this is true in politics too. This is part of why you might notice very often the people of more diverse identities who get ahead in politics are horrible. That horrible people. A lot of times they're worse than the people that they've displaced. Well, because they, in order to get into that position, had to constantly signal to the white power structure that they're no threat to power. Right. So that's why you only get Kamala Harris's, rather than Nina Turners. They don't let Nina Turners get ahead. They only let the Kamala Harrises get ahead. So you're not going to get a woman in that position who's going to go up there and start singing the Internationale. Like that's just not going to happen.
Please clap.